Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise to make my contribution to the appropriation bill. But before I delve into this presentation, Mr. President, please allow me a moment to extend sincere congratulations and best wishes to the Most Reverend Gabriel Miles there, who was installed as Archbishop of Castries on April 24th at the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. I'm very excited for our church, the Catholic Church in St. Lucia, because I know, Mr. President, the son of the soil has returned home with much to offer the flock. And I know that because, Mr. President, he taught me a thing or two, and many other youth leaders in Babono as well. So I am grateful for what he taught me, and I wish him every success. I want to echo my voice to Senator Jahir, who welcomed the youth parliamentarians, and I want to encourage them and wish them well in the debate next week, Wednesday and Thursday. And I want to encourage the St. Lucian population to view, and of course the parents and colleagues to come in to the gallery to support them based on the numbers that would be allowed, of course. I want to very quickly wish a happy 100th birthday to my neighbor, Miss Naomi Louisi, and of course, Mr. Lawrence Albert of Tishime, who's counting down the days for his 100th birthday. There's something about Babono 100 years, Mr. President. So I am excited, Mr. President. These are exciting times. Though it's tough times, they're exciting times. Why am I excited, Mr. President? The policy address of the Honorable Prime Minister. There's something in this address, in the policy statement of the Prime Minister for every St. Lucian. And I congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance for considering everybody, Tooth Moon, in all constituencies and communities will be impacted by this budget, Mr. President. St. Lucians' sons and daughters will be impacted. Their lives will be touched, transformed even. And Mr. President, as a graduate of Seawheel, as a member of Parliamericas and Commonwealth Parliament, I put on my gender lens to look through the budget and of course to see what is in there for women, what is in there for men. But I'm focusing a lot on the women of this country because the women of this country have felt the brunt of pain through COVID. They have lost a lot, loved ones. They have lost their jobs in the tourism sector, etc. And so now, the budget, the policy statement, the plans, the programs must respond to that and give and cushion the women of this country. So I put on my gender lens, having graduated, Mr. President. And of course, I look at the first one. I'm looking at social support. I'm starting with page 44. Reinstating the distress fund. Needs no explanation. We're moving on. Because, Mr. President, the good book says, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers. And of course, the budget, the appropriation bill, the policy statement, it's not about boasting. For any leader of any country, it's not to boast, but it's to touch the people of the country. It's to touch lives. Yes, the politics may happen, people boast, but really and truly, Mr. President, this is not about boasting, but it's about doing. It's about giving and supporting the people of this country who need most, more than anything. Increasing the number of home caregivers. A study was conducted about the home caregivers a few months ago, and the information revealed that there is a need for more home caregivers to be employed around the country. And so the government has seen it fitting to put that in place, to increase the number of home caregivers. That will impact single women, single mothers, because they have to go out to work and they are caring for the elderly parents. So when there's an increase in the number of caregivers, they can go out to earn a living, take care of their children, and take care of the elderly parents. That's a government with a conscience. Page 47, MSME Soft Loan Grant Program, the micro, small, medium-sized businesses, loans and technical assistance given for over 800 registered small businesses that have been affected by COVID. This will again impact women across the country. And it's not only on paper, and I think I heard the independent senators allude to that earlier. It's about the implementation, but it's also for the women and men of these countries to access those facilities. Get to know what is available and be present physically to get what is there for you. Whether it's new, whether it's not new, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it impacts the people who need it the most. So women are getting back to work. They're getting back to earning, employing, and taking care of their families. And brilliant too. If they're not earning in excess of $2,025, they may not pay taxes come January 2023. Page 48 of the Economic Recovery of Youth and Women. The Economic Recovery of Youth and Women, the vocational skills training offered in the areas of health aid, hospitality, creative entrepreneurship, early childhood development aid. And you know what more, Mr. President? The tuition is paid for them. They get a stipend and they also receive a certificate. A brilliant package for the women of this country and the young people of this country. And I heard the members opposite talking about young people, the unemployment rate. But here are the plans, the programs, and policies to respond to unemployment. What more? You cannot just give people fish. You teach them how to fish. You create the avenues for them. This is what a good and effective government does. You don't have to tout it. You just put it in there. You don't have to come and boast about it. You put it in there and you make sure your technical people implement. And your MPs go out and inform however way possible of what is available. Let's move on. Page 48 of the budget address, the document. WISE. Women in Sustainable Exports. We're talking about agro-processors, artisans, craft, clothing, and textile. They are being encouraged to work with Export St. Lucia. So, Mr. President, as you traverse the north and south, east and west of this country, you see some beautiful pieces of work. When the Taiwanese, along with the Ministry of Commerce, has this massive exhibition, you see that, you see Crystal Lights with her bags and so on, you see Membet, you see the jewelry, you see the, I can't afford all, Mr. Speaker, but if I could afford, I would buy all. Beautiful pieces. And we need to open up the avenues, open up the ways so that I can export. And our women, our craft people can get more for their creative work. Page 30, pages 30 to 33, Mr. President. I'm excited about agriculture. I see good support in the areas of agriculture. I see potential for women to get involved. I see CMOS, BCT, Cocos, sector, agro-processing, you name it, I see and I'm excited. Mr. Speaker, I wore green because green means hope. It means hope for this country. There is hope. After all what we've been through, there is hope. But I want to segue a little bit, because as we're speaking about agriculture, I want to respond to Senator Polius. And I'm an educator, proud to be an educator. I heard the member opposite told the principal that you don't know this because you were a teacher. Teachers not supposed to have information. Teachers, I stand with the teachers forever. Forever. All of us around this room at some point have been an educator. As a little out of order, I find, to make that statement about teachers not having. Disrespectful to teachers. So, I am an educator and I'm proud to be. So, Senator Polius had much to say about agriculture. Even making it to the point of thinking about the appointment of the minister. Out of order. Just unacceptable and sad. But let me remind Senator Polius and her colleagues about the attack on the marketing board, the no bananas to France, the battling with NFTO members for chairmanship of the organization, and threatening no support to them after Winfresh owed the NFTO, and government being a shareholder of NFTO, not wanting to pay them because you want chairmanship of NFTO. Privatizing the agro-processing plant in France-sur-Barbonneau. After we had invested so much in equipment, then they put out the women out of the agro-processing plant and loaned it to a private citizen. You may say, Madame Nadawa, if you buy a Munsa, and $80,000 in debt to Lucilec for the big building, the agro-processing plant, and they squeeze up the ladies in a little building on the side, and they had the audacity to have the formal opening. And COVID came, and you can have only 1, 2 women in there at a time. This is how the women of Barbuna have been treated by the minister, former, of agriculture. And so, the senator need to have an information right. The Minister for Agriculture presently found the banana industry in disarray. And he did the following. He implemented a $4 million support package to NFTO, which was promised by the previous government, but never delivered. He expanded market access to the Northern Caribbean. He's working with NFTO and farmers to revive the UK market. There is a cabinet-appointed banana task force to reorganize the industry. When the PM advised us to eat fig, there was, some of them tried to make fun of it. He thought it funny. But the Anglican Church took it seriously. They held an exhibition. And tomorrow I want to invite Senator Polius to come to the Constitution Park tomorrow. There is a banana expo hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture, where there will be recipe and products of banana on display, in Constitution Park. So come tomorrow. There's more going on with bananas. The government appointed a consultant to review the operations on NFTO. A small unit was set up to manage the black cicatricol again. Every time this minister is in agriculture, black cicatricol takes over the banana industry. So again, there was a closure of the Banana Productivity Improvement Project, BPIP. You're famine. So, the minister had to set up a unit to manage again black cicatricol. And the senator spoke about fertilizer. And a little disingenuous, I think. If you're talking about the cost of fertilizer, be honest. Be honest. NFTO fertilizer, 25 kilograms a bag of 25 kilograms, costing $80. In the private sector, though, it's $104. Why come in the house and give this wrong? I don't want to say it's a lie, but come on now. And the 50 kilograms at the NFTO is $160, but the private sector renting is $208. Let us make sure we give the correct information. It doesn't pay to give incorrect information, whether it's deliberate or not. Continuing, Mr. President, page 37 speaks of the street lighting replacement project. It has been reinstated with LED bulbs. 25,000 bulbs being set up in this country. And I am very grateful for that, because it complements the CCTV cameras that the government is planning to set up in the country, in the city, to monitor our streets. And like I said, Mr. President, I put on my gender lens. With CCTV cameras, with better lighting, you know what that means for women. Women and girls who have worked late, need to get the bus. They can walk through the streets of Castries and other areas without fear. And because, you know, this week we remembered Valerie Lord, what happened to her. She was murdered. Okay? So we need the lights and we need the CCTV. So I am very grateful to the Prime Minister and this government for planning to set up the CCTVs in this country, in the city, and the LED bulbs, because women, we can walk, we can drive a little easier with this light, better light. And of course, the business owners in the city, a lot of them being women, they have complained. You see them on the media. They complain because people break into their businesses, their bars, their restaurants, even the nails places they're breaking into to steal. So with the lighting, it will help secure the business places of our women, our men, our young people. We continue, Mr. President. Page 39 of the budget address to the Prime Minister, speaking about housing. Again, with my gender lens, I look at how it will impact single mothers with the children, families, young couples who do not have the means to get homes that cost a lot more. The government is stepping in with 40 new lots in the south and 150 service lots island-wide. I say, in the midst of turbulent waters, in the midst of rough waves, the anchor holds. Something is holding. Something is coming through for families. Some things are coming through for women. Some things are coming through for young couples, married couples. Some things are coming through for children, as alluded earlier by my colleagues. The PROUD program being revitalized in Castries and Vieux Fort. Over 1,400 families to benefit. They will get ownership of the land. Mr. President, doesn't the opposition understand what it means to a St. Lucian man or woman to have title to their land? When they can walk into a bank and get a loan for their children to study or to buy a vehicle or to do something, to start a small business, to do something for themselves? Don't they understand how empowering this is to the average St. Lucian? They probably don't understand it because where we come from, we understand it. We understand it. When you have people squatting on family land and it's a whole set of riots to get something in your hand, we understand it. And so I stand with those families and I stand with the government and I say bravo to the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers for thinking about the people of this country. And I can't wait for the Paris lands in Talvan to have it sorted out once and for all. In page 26, we speak of the orange economy. It deals with culture, creativity of St. Lucian's sons and daughters, something that some people here would not know anything about. Visual, performing, and literary arts. The opportunities must be created, Mr. President, for training to be given to our artists. It is needed. We need provision for open spaces, for performances, exhibitions, readings, book launches. Mr. President, I mean, you travel, we all travel, and we see it. I mean, my little time in Kenya, I was in awe. When you just drive around and see some piece of artwork in the middle of nowhere, just beautiful, and we have them right here. Even in the secondary schools, you can see the children posting their work. Give them the spaces to show off their creativity. Give them the spaces. Give them the time. Give them the avenues to do so. So through the orange economy, every community should have an open space where the children can perform. can do an exhibition, can do something. Every community. But I think, Mr. President, the Cultural Development Foundation needs to be better organized to manage arts and culture. That's the government's arm in arts and culture. There needs to be development and growth, and I think we need to do a little more work in there. And yes, I am a senator on the government side, but when I think we are being honest and we're being open and we support our government and we give ideas, that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, we are all St. Lucians and we want to see the best for our country. Just like I heard the independent senators giving their suggestions, giving their ideas. It's not about coming to bash, but you can see if there is an area you think something needs to be done, say it. So I look forward to the activation of the Walcott and Sessions houses. The Walcott House in Grass Street area and Sessions House. It's an exhibit, it's a museum actually, Mr. President. I visited there and I was in awe. There's so much, there's too much, and the space is too small. We need to do something about Sessions House, and we need, and I know the MP will find a way to get visitors, not only visitors from outside of St. Lucia, tourists, but I mean St. Lucian children who are students of culture and arts. Take them to Sessions House and let them see what it is about our culture. Let us get that pride and joy back in our people of who we are and where we want to go. So I want to see I look forward to activating Walcott and Sessions houses. And I want to praise the Walcott family. They donated his library to the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. So it's now the Derek Walcott Library established. Bravo to the family. And so there is need for, and I think one of the senators spoke to it earlier about the city of Castries. And during the lunch break, we were talking about when your parents will tell you they're taking you to town. I mean, this was a vibe, a feeling. When you're going to Castries, you're going to see things, you're going to eat things. You're just being in Castries with a beautiful vibe, beautiful feeling. And so we have to do something for our young people, that they will not just sit on the block in Castries, but they'll find something to do. And so we look at the national museums, National Arts Gallery. What's about the old government printery? What about the old Ministry of Education building just up the street? Our children, our visitors to the city. Apart from the minor basilica and Walcott House, what else is there for them to visit around the city? So we need to do a little more as we talk about the orange economy and the Cultural Development Foundation. Page 53 speaks to tax reform, Mr. President. And the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, indicated that effective January 2023, people earning up to $2,023 monthly will pay no income tax. Saying public servants, grades 1 to 5, and a lot of them are women within that bracket as well. And so single mothers, women who work caring for the elderly, caring for their children with disabilities, caring for their nenen and power, all who earn about a little over $2,000 will pay no income tax. Small as it is, Mr. President, it's a relief. That is what we're looking at. These are turbulent times, and so the government will not be able to give large pieces, but small. Page 54, tax refund. Almost 2,000 St. Lucians received their refunds. Almost 1,000 people got $1,000 and above. In these COVID times, in these times of war and costly products, getting a check for $1,000 can go a long way for a family. And I can tell you, Mr. President, I just helped a young lady whose husband has passed, was a farmer, and the SLBC were paying out dividends for shareholders, and she got the $725. And the lady sent a message on my phone. It was heartbreaking to hear the way she gave thanks for that amount. She said it is small, but it is significant. So every little bit counts for the people of this country. Everyone is impacted. There has been no borrowing. So much has been done for the people of this country in the 9 months. I have a question for the Prime Minister. How did you do it? How did he do it? Amazing, steady, his hand being steady through turbulent times. But so much more will be done, Mr. President. So much more will be done. I have faith in the Prime Minister's ability to do more for the people of this country. I move back to pages 11 and 12. We speak about COVID-19. And the Prime Minister spoke to the challenge of trying to manage a deadly Delta variant and keep the economy afloat. We all know that vaccination is the key strategy to fighting COVID. We encountered the Delta, the Alpha, the Omicron variants in St. Lucia. The former government borrowed over $300 million as of July 2021. $300 million. Et nous passons copan juste toujours qui manière yo servi l'argent ça là pour bâtir COVID. Nous ka try joindre ça mais nous poko ça en ça. Moi vle savent, mais moi savent oui. Moi savent la pas qu'il y a une réponse ordinaire même si nous étant débris à l'autre side là. Moi quand on a débris ma pour sortir. Moi maintenant en débris qui sortir à côté. So, Mr. President, I'm saying to you, we do not know how it was used, but it was borrowed. 300 million. And when I hear we speak and we say the government borrowed this, or the government doesn't have to pay this, and the government, it's not that the government is doing it, it's not the government's money, you know. It's taxpayers' money, it's the people of this country. You know, we speak like we're in a vacuum there as a government, you know, we did this. No. It's taxpayers' money. All of us are responsible for repaying the loans. I just don't get it. But anyway, page 17 of the Social and Economic Review 2021 indicates that through the COVAX facility, that's through WHO, we were able to procure vaccines plus getting donations from friendly governments through WHO, PAHO. Friendly governments like India, USA, Argentina, Spain, Taiwan, even Barbados. We got AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, we got the boosters, you name it. Vaccines are available now at all wellness centers. So if all this good was happening with vaccines, so many friendly governments donated, COVAX through WHO and PAHO, if all of this was happening, there was vaccine resistance at the time, Mr. President, why did the Prime Minister former make this advance payment of $7 million to an unknown entity who has no medical background? Mr. President, I was one time Minister for Health. And all our pharmaceuticals are procured through the OECS. The OECS countries come together, we purchase by bulk. And we have pharmacists who are employed with OECS, and they had to go through and look at the different medications, interview the people, and because we made sure we couldn't bring anything to our people. But Mr. President, when I had $7 million being given to someone who's in business, cement or what have you, Mr. President, irresponsible. Who knows what kind of it that was vaccine at all to bring to this country on behalf of the people. That's the kind of decisions we had the former administration taking on behalf of us, our health and wellness. Mr. President, Data from the epidemiology unit as of April 24th indicated the age group, okay, we had 368 deaths. The age group 0 to 14, 9%, 15 to 24, 15%, 25 to 49 years, 52%, and 50 plus, 24%. And so we need to consider the families who have lost loved ones. Amidst the call to transform our economy, empowering our people, brilliant. I wish to humbly endorse the call for a special event, whether it be a service of light, to remember those souls, the people who have gone through COVID, the people who departed during COVID, due to COVID. The average age, 67 years. The males, 65 to 67. And the females, 85 plus. So we lost younger males and older females. But the service is not for those who have passed, but for those who continue to grieve. We must help them along the grieving and healing process. As a student of psychology, I think the emotional, psychological, and spiritual strength will help them. Husbands, fathers, uncles, grandparents, aunts, children.
Senator, you have 15 minutes left to conclude your presentation.
Thank you very much. I shall finish within time, Mr. President. So as we get our economy back on track, let us hold a special service to help heal broken spirits and help bring closure. Page 43, universal health care. And the throne speech, page 6, so both the governor, His Excellency, and the Prime Minister spoke to commencing the implementation of universal health coverage. The Minister for Finance indicated that it will begin with a fund of $6.4 million. His Excellency stated that universal health coverage will be underpinned by the principles of universality, accessibility, affordability, and equity. This was music to my ears. But unfortunately, just 2 nights ago, the former Prime Minister in his address to the nation said about universal health care, and I quote, "It's not going to work. We are unable to afford it." And yet, he proposed a health insurance card coverage, $75,000 per person per year. And I said to myself, and I'm saying it here, the Prime Minister former should have used those same words when DSH came up to say, "We cannot afford it." He should have said that then. When the new shell came to build this shell for St. Jude Hospital, he should have said, "We cannot afford it." When Cabot approached, who had no money to get land, he should have said, "We cannot afford it." When the hotel got the 24 million of the St. Lucian people's money, he should have said, "We cannot afford it." "We cannot afford it" translates in my mind that's too much money to spend on St. Lucians. That is how I interpret it. It's too much money to spend on St. Lucians for UHC. UHC is too good for St. Lucians. OKU was too good for St. Lucians. St. Jude was too good for St. Lucians. The Diabetes Center was too good for St. Lucians. Let me clarify, Mr. President. National health insurance does not represent universal health coverage. Many developing countries like Thailand, Mexico, and Brazil, they have successfully implemented.
I remember you are not to use the type of language in this house. You proceed.
Very unfortunate. Many developing countries have successfully implemented universal health coverage using different mechanisms. The St. Lucia Labour Party has proposed one such model. Universal health coverage aims to take responsibility for improving the health and well-being of individuals and population. It's not just about insurance and paying. Everyone gets the same level of care. It leads to a healthier workforce and longer life expectancy. Universal health coverage requires a system that includes trained staff, data collection, governance and management system working together, construction and maintenance of suitable buildings, catering for all ages across the life course, addressing the determinants of health and wellness and ill health and unhealthiness. For example, it encompasses health promotion, the health fairs, and taking people's pressures in the community, prevention strategies, early diagnosis, cost-effective intervention, and access to services. Insurance don't deal with that. Insurances don't deal with that. They don't deal with health promotion. They don't deal with prevention strategies. Universal health coverage deals with that. So we want the entire package for the people of St. Lucia. And by God, Mr. President, we deserve it. After what they have been through, they deserve it. All the good things for the people of this country, we deserve it. So people who come from other countries, they can go get UHC, but we're going to give it to our St. Lucian people. Universal health coverage will target clients individually, families, and communities in self-management. We will come together as a nation to protect health together. We will contribute to a fund we can all access. So together we'll put our funds in one, and we will access this fund to benefit from this fund. Former PM spoke about $75,000 per person for a year. Who benefits from this arrangement? This is unrealistic. It amounts to $12.7 billion, which grossly exceeds even our national budget of $9.8 billion. I dare say this approach is designed to extract monies from our population to enrich the interests of profiteers, the companies, but not the health and well-being of our people. We have the human resource. We have the people with knowledge, the technical skills, who are right here in this country and who can make an excellent contribution to universal health coverage. So I submit that, Mr. President. And as I close, St. Jude Hospital, on page 22, the St. Jude Hospital project. The Prime Minister indicated that work will commence this year to complete the St. Jude Hospital project, and it will be commissioned within a reasonable time. Work on St. Jude stopped in September 2016. The former administration commissioned a report, $1 million almost, they paid for it. Nobody has seen it, nobody has read it. It has never been tabled in any house, not upper, not lower. Nobody has seen it officially. Started a new building that cost the people of St. Lucia. You have something to say, Mr. President? If the Honorable one wants to stand, I can sit.
Proceed.
Thank you. I think a little manners would go a long way. Started a new building, $118 million. Demolished 2 buildings that cost the people of St. Lucia $7 million. Presently, the stadium is a bigger hazard to the people. It's a hazard for the patients, for staff, for visitors alike. Mr. President, it's a kwevche. Then nous garder manière bagela ha fait avec St. Jude en vie fort. Un petit pays qu'on nous y est, nous pas ni l'huile, nous pas ni qualité ressources ça là, avec nous ja, quantité l'argent, millions de dollars a gaspillé en sous projet ça là en vie fort. Et plus mauvais, c'est mon vie fort pour connaître l'hôpital là yo besoin. Et maintenant, Prime Minister avant dit, yo te vle servi projet pour faire université médicale. So de kay bay en l'école pour entrer à St. Jude et faire à St. Jude neuf. So they would give it to a new school, a medical school, but we have Spartan, we have IAU in Vieux Fort, so I don't know why we want to bring in a medical school and give them our St. Jude and so and build a shell. I agree totally with the Prime Minister. Somebody must account for mismanaging, wasting, abusing the country's limited resources. Mr. President, as I close, I wish to reiterate my support for the appropriation bill because the people of St. Lucia deserve every dollar, every cent that have been budgeted for them. They deserve every plan, every program, every project conceived and to be implemented to impact their lives. They deserve a special memorial service in honor of those that they have lost. Mr. President, St. Lucians deserve to exhale. After almost 5.5 years of an apartheid kind of a system, an apartness, a style of governance, many atrocities that they experience, it is time for St. Lucians to exhale. This bill, when it comes into effect, will achieve this, Mr. President. It is time for St. Lucians to rise up, step forward, and access all the offerings of this bill. And I wish all the mothers of this country happy and blessed Mother's Day on Sunday. And I say happy Appropriation Bill Day to us in the advance. Thank you.